So I hope you can hear me. I hope this is actually being recorded. I could just be talking to myself. I mean, that's cool too. I talk to myself sometimes. So, why are you here? You're not here to hear me talk about myself, but you are here to learn about how to paraphrase. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to paraphrase for the TOEFL. Now, what that means basically is that you say the same thing in a different way. Okay, so paraphrasing is saying the same exact thing in a different way. And that can be difficult for a lot of students. And it can be difficult because, wow, I have somebody that commented. Sumet Sharma Padu. Wow, cool. Thank you, Sumet. I appreciate it. Lakji, hi, hi. Hi, hi. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Oh, this is so exciting. I hope I don't. Now I gotta impress you guys. So I'm excited to share this with you, and it'll be helpful. I promise. So paraphrasing. So let me get into it. Basically, the idea is that you have to say the same thing in a different way. And this could be difficult because a lot of the sentences are really long on the TOEFL. And so you might have heard teachers say something like, what do they say? Like, try to find the subject, verb, and object, or try to find the most important part, or try to find the main idea in the sentence. And that's hard to do. It's not something that comes naturally. It's something that you kind of build over time as a native speaker. So for you guys, it's tough. It's tough to do. So I have a totally different way of teaching paraphrasing, totally different way. And when you study to try to paraphrase in this way, you will be much better at answering the questions. Why? Because every single correct answer is a paraphrase. I'll say that again. Every single correct answer, almost every single correct answer on the reading section is a paraphrase. It's saying the same thing in a different way. So, how do you get good at it? Well, what you do is that you kind of figure out how people write, how academics write, and they write in a specific way. They write in a way to try to make their point very clear and truthful. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you make your point clear and truthful? You do that by giving a lot of details, a lot of explanation, contrast. You give a lot of stuff. So let me show you how this works, actually. And what we do is that I show it to you in a different way. And now I've never done this with paper and on here, but I'm going to try. So what I do is, and this is how I teach it to my students, is that I tell you the simple sentence, the simple main idea first. And then I show you the long, complicated sentence. Okay, so I'm going to show you simple sentence first, and then a long, complicated sentence after, a TOEFL sentence kind of thing. So let me give you a simple one first, and this is going to get a little dark, but hopefully you can read it. George Washington was the first president of the US. Pretty simple, okay? Don't expect one of these types of sentences on the TOEFL, but you can expect a sentence like this on the TOEFL. Now, keep in mind that this sentence has the same exact main idea. Here it is. Whoa, whoa, are you getting a headache? Because I am already. And so this whole long thing says this. This whole long thing says this. Okay? Now, how does it work? So I'll show you a couple different ways for you to be able to see the main idea. Okay? To be able to see the simplified version. So basically, what happens is that sometimes you have these kind of what I call signal words. And I've circled them here. So this one, after. So when you see that word, after, what that means is that this is going to be adding information. It's going to be extra information. So after years of service as a politician and later as the most decorated general in the American War of Independence, okay, so this is all extra stuff. All of this is extra. The big word here was after. And also, commas are a big part. This word later also signals to me that this is extra information. Now, if you're not sure about this, don't worry. This is a skill. This is something you get good at, and it has a kind of system called the DEX system. This is something that I've talked about in my YouTube videos before. I'll leave a link to the DEX system if you're interested in it. But basically, when I say that George Washington was named president of the newly formed nation, I need to add details to that. I need to give it a context. I need to give more information. So that's one way that you can figure out the kind of the main idea of a sentence, is by looking for those kind of signal words and figuring out which one is important, which one's not important. Hi, somebody named Samer Ahmed Bashir, I think. I'm sorry if I said your name very badly, but thank you for saying hello. Hello back. If anybody wants to ask any questions, if anybody is interested, this is so cool. I'm kind of into this right now, that I'm talking to people live. And you're all over the place. This is amazing. It's like a class, except everybody's in, I don't know, in their computer or whatever. So this is just cool. So let me do another one. So I came prepared. I wanted to give you some examples so you can see a bunch of them. All right, so the next one here. Again, I'm going to give you the simple sentence and then explain more. Okay, so here's the simple sentence is, most ceratopsian live together in herds. Most ceratopsian live together in herds. So I'm sure you're probably like, what is ceratopsian? I have no idea what that means. It's basically a kind of dinosaur. Okay, so don't worry if you don't know what ceratopsian means. It's just basically a dinosaur. Okay, so yeah, that's ceratopsian. So most of these kinds of dinosaurs lived in herds. Herds is groups, okay? So they lived in these herds. Now let me show you how the TOEFL will make this incredibly complicated, okay? It's going to make it incredibly complicated. So somebody whose name I'm not even going to be able to pronounce says, I'm kind of busy. Can you play back later? Yes, go on my Facebook page. You can watch this later. But no, but you guys stay. Please stay and ask me some questions. Please come back. But yes, so here's the simple sentence. Most dinosaurs, most of these types of dinosaurs live together in herds. Let's see a TOEFL with the same exact main idea. This is the same exact main idea, except super long and filled with details. Okay, so it needs to have these details here because we need to, people who write this type of academic stuff, they think that you don't believe them. They think that you don't believe that ceratopsians live together. So they have to explain that more. And they explain it in different ways. So here, they have this phrase, in terms of. In terms of introduces a kind of conditional. In terms of how they lived, evidence from bone beds, okay, so they is referring to something in the previous sentence. In terms of how they lived, and then you see these hyphens here, these two hyphens. These hyphens are extra information. It's not really necessary. They're just adding detail, adding some information to this word bone beds. Areas in which hundreds of individual dinosaurs have been found. So this has nothing to do with the topic, with the main idea. This is just talking about bone beds. So we do this a lot to add information, like, oh, maybe you don't know what bone beds are. So let me explain that really quickly here. But that's still not anything to do with the main idea. The main idea doesn't come until all the way at the end of the sentence, where species of ceratopsian live together in herds. See? This very simple sentence becomes very complicated. Sorry. Academics and people in universities and colleges in general, this is part of the way that we speak. This is the way that we explain things. It's called, again, it's called the DEX system. I'll leave a link below, but you describe, you explain. In this example that I just dropped on the floor, they give some extra details and extra information to help explain it, okay? So that's the DEX system. Or so that's that example. Let me show you another example of... Oh, yeah, that's... sorry. I'm hearing an echo of myself. Okay, so now let me give you one more example. So I've never done it with paper before, but so again, the goal here is for you to understand the main idea of a sentence by going backwards. Okay, so you have something simple and you understand the simple main idea. And then you go back, okay? Somebody's asking deck system. Yes, I will link to it later. It is it's a way that, how can I explain this? So it's a way that we write. It's the way that academics write, and then you can understand vocabulary and you can understand the meaning without looking in a dictionary. Okay, so it's a little complicated, but it's a really long lesson. It's like an hour long, but so this is just kind of like a shorter version of it. And so again, this is for you to understand the main idea and understand what information is important and what information is not important. Okay, got one more for you. Here you go. So this one here, it says, companies must respond to the demands of the customer. Very simple. Simple sentence. Companies must respond to the demands of the customer. Very simple. Let's make it more like the TOEFL. Let's make it much more complicated. And so let's make it really long. And so I know it's very painful. This very simple sentence, this very simple main idea becomes this, okay? Now again, it becomes this because in academia, we have to explain our point more. We have to give more details. We have to elaborate more. So in this example here, companies. Companies is the topic. Now then you see this relative pronoun here, who. You see who, which, that, or when. Usually that's extra information that introduces something called a relative clause. And you don't worry about the grammar stuff, but basically when you see this, it's usually extra information that isn't important for understanding the main idea, okay? Okay, maybe. Anybody? Okay, huh? Anybody want to write something? Huh? No? Yes? Maybe? Huh? Okay. So this is extra information. Companies, okay, so I know that's the topic. And then who wish to thrive in today's market economy. So that's extra information. Must respond to the demands of the customer. Okay, so here, this is all this extra information. And then here comes companies must respond to the demands of the customer. That's the most important piece of information. And then after this, they use this word because to explain why. To explain why it's important. But that's not the main idea why it's important. The main idea is that companies have to respond to the needs of customers. So these are just ways that they show you, how can I say, the ways that they elaborate on the topic, okay? They don't need to say all this stuff, but they do because they have to make their point clear and they have to sound smart. So if I just said something simple, George Washington was the first president, that sounds very kind of like lower level elementary. You need to make it sound a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more academic, a little bit more like college. Remember, the TOEFL is to see if you are prepared to enter college. This sounds more like college, unfortunately. So your job is to figure out which of this stuff is extra, and there's clues, commas, words like after, and so on. And of course, if you want more information about this kind of stuff, you can visit our website, TOEFLspeakingteacher.com. I'm going to plug myself shamelessly, and you can check out our amazing TOEFL course that will be released January 15th, but on sale now. And so, do you have any questions? Let me know if you have any questions. I see Lokjie, thank you for showing up. And then I think it's a Vietnamese name. And the writing is very difficult for me. So Do Yen Jiak, maybe? He says he's got school tomorrow, so he hasn't studied anything yet. So he's got to go back to studying. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. Good, so Lachi asks, so that means we are to summarize it or explain in more details. Yeah, so the idea basically is that these are for paraphrasing questions and for in the reading section. So basically, what you should be doing, or your goal, should be to figure out which information in the sentence is important, is the main idea, and which information is extra information, information that just kind of adds details that you don't need. So again, like with this example here, so you see this word after. That should be a signal for you. That should be like, okay, they're saying after. If they're saying after, probably what comes after is going to be extra information that is not related to the main idea. If you see something in between two commas or in between two hyphens, like the other example we saw before, again, that's probably extra information. So again, the point is that you're able to look at a sentence and figure out what's important and what's the main idea. So a lot of students have trouble with that because every correct answer is a paraphrase. Every correct answer in the TOEFL reading says the same main idea in a different way. So you need to get good at that. I see somebody said at Sunil Nupane. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if that's a hashtag or something. Connie Chen, hi. Hi, Connie Chen. Does anybody have any questions? Because I pretty much said what I wanted to say about paraphrasing. Again, it's kind of a longer lesson. After this broadcast, what I'll do is I'll leave a link to what I talked about with the deck system. It's a YouTube video that's about 35 minutes long. It's pretty long, but it explains in great detail how to figure out the meaning of vocabulary without looking in a dictionary, just by reading the text. That's all you have to do. That's it. So, yeah, so I'll leave a link to that. And okay, so somebody, yes, wow, people are commenting. This is amazing. It's very exciting for me. So, Hussein Kasso, hello, I'm a Lebanese student taking my test and I'm extremely nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous right now, but yeah, good. I'm excellent in English, but I have to get a high score. My main question is that the tests all based on multiple choice. Okay, so sometimes I get questions like this so Hussein, thank you for asking, and I could tell that you're nervous and you need to get a good score. I can also tell that you don't know a lot about the TOEFL, because if you think that everything is multiple choice, you haven't prepared enough. What I would do is that I would not be on Facebook. If you're not sure what to do, what I would tell you to do is download this TOEFL quick guide. I will send you a link, and that basically explains the whole test in about 12 pages, and get familiar with the test. Go take a whole test right now. You could find different examples of the whole test and actually do a test so you can see what it's like. Instead of me just telling you what it's like, you obviously don't know enough about it yet. If you're nervous about it, then you should be motivated to go try to find some resources to help you. Okay, so I know Facebook is great for a lot of things. I'm on Facebook right now, but you should try to take a real test or download the quick guide. I'll leave you a link. If you send me a private message, I'll send you a link to the quick guide. Okay. He says, like, I'm lost. Yeah, I could see that. So just focus on the TOEFL test. Just focus on it. And again, you could just send me a message and I'll send you the quick guide and you can get better at it. But if it's important to you, just focus on it. It's the most important thing. And if anybody else have any questions, let me know, because I'm gonna go if there's nothing else. But thank you guys for showing up. There's like 15-20 people here. This is amazing. If you have any questions, send me a message, let me know. I'll put a link to the deck system thing so you can figure out how to read and know vocabulary without looking in a dictionary and just looking at the reading. But thank you guys, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye-bye. See you guys later. Thank you for coming. Thank you so